Okay, hello everybody. So if you're like me and you're a bit, hesitant about the 60 FPS cap of MGS4, there is a way around it, and it's rather straightforward, and almost everybody should be able to do this. And I'll show you two methods of doing this. So an easy method of doing this is you can do this. You don't have to do this for NVIDIA Inspector. You can do this for your GeForce experience or your GeForce control panel. Just add the EXE, or make sure the game shows up officially in your GeForce app. I in particular just don't like the GeForce app. I like NVIDIA Inspector, so I choose to use it. But this is very similar to how the GeForce app does it. I created a new profile here for MGS4, and I've added my EXE to it, as you can see here. That's where it's installed. And if you scroll down, I just enabled this, right? I just enabled smooth motion. This is a driver level frame gen. So it works kind of similar to lossless scaling, except this kicks in at driver level. In some games, it can produce like slightly higher visual fidelity and less latency. So it's definitely something I recommend you try out at your own, peril, or whatever works best for you. But if you have a 5000 series graphics card, then I definitely recommend trying it. I think 5000, 4000 series graphics cards support this, so you should be fine to try this out. It tends to be pretty good when you've got a game with no frame gen or a game that's capped. Another thing you may want to do is up here there's going to be an ultra low latency mode. This is just for the latency, because interpolating frames like this with frame generation, it tends to have like additional input lag. I don't really notice it. It is something that kind of happens, or it can happen. Obviously it's per game, per player basis. You might respond to this latency like more harshly than I would. But it's something you can enable as well to reduce that latency, because the game doesn't support reflex. Typically, this would be solved by NVIDIA, reflex. Now, AMD has its own equivalent of this in its own control panel. Now, I don't have an AMD system that I could show you this with, but they have their own AMD fluid motion, which is essentially their equivalent of this. So if you're on an AMD card or system, please go ahead and try this. Later on, I'll show you how to do this or enable this on a system that doesn't support this, like flag a particular thing, right? So that's all you do. And then you start your game up. And as you can see, I've got my Steam overlay here. So you can see the game was and is by default capped at 60 FPS. But now it is running at 120 due to the frame generation. And if I rotate the camera, it's very difficult to notice any sort of artifacting or any sort of issues that may pop up. I can see a small amount of garbling around Snake's head, around the edges when I rotate the camera. But other than that, it's really not noticeable. And it feels extremely smooth and good to play. And also, if I move the camera around, you can see around the stress, where it says stress in the HUD, top left-hand corner, there's a little bit of artifacting there, right? A little bit. So this will happen. It's different on, per game basis. It varies, but it can happen. But as you can see, I'm running a smooth locked 120 FPS now. There is no stutters or anything like that. The frame graph is perfectly smooth, because the game by default on its own runs at 60. So we're just taking that and we're doubling it. And it's looking very good. I am not complaining. And of course, there is a little bit of artifacting here and there. Kind of around Snake's head. But the game is responsive. I can, I don't see any input lag. There's almost no perceivable input lag. Like when pressing A, like teabagging right now, it's pretty smooth. So it's definitely pretty good. And it's something you can look into doing if you play the game and you want more than 60 FPS. Okay, and now if you don't have a modern NVIDIA card, AMD card, maybe it's not supported, you can always rely on good old lossless scaling. Now, lossless scaling is a paid program, but it's a very cheap paid program. It costs only about £5, I think, give or take. Let me take a look. It's not super pricey. It's definitely something you can look into getting. Yeah, it's about £6. And what it does is it lets you do frame gen on the game, on the screen, right? So I've set my frame gen up accordingly with, you know, kind of what I'd like. You know, I've got a 60 FPS cap, whatever. I set it up to basically what suits my computer here. So you can obviously do the same, you know, if you have G-Sync, whatever, which is what I do have. And I've multiplier of 2. And I'm going to hit scale now. So in about 4, 3, 2, 1 seconds, you'll see my screen might flicker. You might not see it, but I see it. Now, unfortunately, OBS doesn't capture this, but I've got lossless scaling now, basically giving me 120 FPS as well. And there's actually, funny enough, slightly less artifacting going on here as well. Like, I can no longer see the stuff in the HUD, like happening, like, you know, the garbling, whatever. It's looking kind of smoother than the smooth motion at driver level. So it really is on a per game basis. Really depends on the game that you're playing. But as you can see, smooth motion, it does, however, produce a bit more garbling around the character for me. So I can definitely notice that. But it's still, for me, a locked 120 currently because of the scaling. And it's smooth. The input delay, like I said, is good. There is not much input lag. The game feels very responsive still. And yeah, things are looking much better. So it definitely is like an option that you have. You know, if you don't want to pay £5 for smooth motion, for lossless scaling, then you know you can use smooth motion. But yeah, your mileage will vary per game for sure. And this is on the newest version of, you know, lossless. This is like a beta version with all the latest bells and whistles. And yeah, that's pretty much it. It runs pretty good. So it really depends on your preference and tolerance. I definitely notice far less artifacts using this than smooth motion. And it is just kind of something to hold you over, you know, while we still have the 60 FPS cap, until modders find a way to remove it or, you know, do whatever else with it. So yeah, that's it for this video, guys. I hope this helps. And yeah, peace out.